Konnichiwa. Welcome back to Voxterra. Today I'm talking about green investing. Specifically, I'm looking at a company from Japan, or Nihon, I believe is how we'd say Japan in Japanese, called Panasonic or Panasonic. Panasonic came on my radar because I was looking at different electric vehicle stocks and they appeared in my news feed. Now, they're not an electric vehicle company, but let me back up for a minute. When we talk about green investing, we can be talking about what's called ESG, which is environmental and social governance investing, whereby funds or individual investors are looking at a company for its overall environmental and social governance records. We could be looking at fossil fuel divestment, meaning shunning fossil fuel investments, as I believe ESG funds typically do. We could be looking at trying to directly invest in what we could consider solutions, like which basically, in my opinion, mean less polluting, less energy intensive technologies, like renewable energy, electric vehicles, and so forth. And we could also question the very necessity of how excessive consumption is really driving our planet into the ground, which makes environmental and social governing investing quite difficult. But within the realm of consumer capitalism, we have our choices to make. Now, for disclosure, I own some shares of Panasonic at present, and I will try to tell you my plan for those shares at the end of the video. According to a Wikipedia entry, which I corroborated partially anyway, at Newsweek and also at the online investment platform that I do business with, formerly known as Matsushita Electric Industrial Company, founded by Konosuke Matsushita in 1918 as a light bulb socket manufacturer, is a major Japanese multinational electronics company headquartered in Kodama, Osaka. Quoting from the Wikipedia entry, in addition to consumer electronics, of which it had been the world's largest maker in the late 20th century, Panasonic offers a wide range of products and services, including rechargeable batteries, automotive avionics systems, as well as home renovation and construction. Now again, it was the batteries that brought them onto my radar again. But quite honestly, there's also a bit of nostalgia from my childhood when the name Panasonic was much more ubiquitous, I believe would be the proper word. So one of the electric vehicle-oriented articles that popped up in my news feed was from Barrons, titled, "Barrons, Panasonic is the latest company betting on electric vehicles, powering past its Tesla partnership to explore a venture in Norway," by Jack Denton, updated November 18th, 2020. Now, according to this article, Panasonic supplies batteries to Tesla in the US, where the two companies have a joint venture in the form of a $5 billion gigafactory in Nevada. Tesla, which joined with Panasonic to take advantage of the Japanese company's advanced battery technology and intellectual property, announced in September that it had plans to produce its own batteries as part of its strategy of vertical integration. Now that line made me a bit concerned in otherwise what appeared to me to be a bullish article on Panasonic. And I looked at a Reuters article, so my impression is that Panasonic no longer has an exclusive partnership with Tesla, but Panasonic is still involved in Tesla's electric battery manufacture. That's my impression. Going back to that Barron's article, Europe is one of the fastest moving spaces in the race to dominate an expected boom in electric vehicles, with at least 12 countries planning a ban on internal combustion engine vehicles in the coming years. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced a ban on the sale of new gasoline, diesel, and diesel cars to come in effect in 2030. Panasonic, Norwegian state-owned oil company Equinor, and Norwegian aluminum group Hydro announced that they had formed a strategic partnership to explore setting up a green battery business in Norway. Now, notice, this is where it gets tricky, right? Because the partnership's with a state-owned oil company and an aluminum group. So we're getting into now mining and extraction and that kind of thing, which has caused a lot of environmental damage. So that's where it becomes tricky now. Divesting from fossil fuels is one strategy to try to push the business community. And it's a strategy I overall approve of. Without divesting, I don't believe there's going to be the incentive for the business community to green up its act. However, it's very difficult to have a purely environmental play. It's very difficult to invest in renewable and cleaner tech without having some element of dirtiness involved in it. So here we come back to that environmental and social governance. How responsible is this business player? In fact, an infamous example would be T. Boone Pickens in Texas, who my understanding was a wealthy Texas oil businessman, but who also began in his later years investing in wind energy. So you see, it's sometimes just difficult to separate out when it comes to these energy plays, cleaner tech from dirtier tech. Now, it was electric batteries that brought Panasonic back onto my radar, so I took a look at their website, and I did not see much on their website, but I did see them mention hydrogen fuel. And as I mentioned to you in an earlier video, hydrogen fuel can be done cleaner and greener, being created or powered by solar energy or wind energy, but it can also be created using fossil fuels. My impression based on the Panasonic website is that at present, they are doing more of their hydrogen fuel production by dirtier sources, but are planning on heading in a greener direction. Not very impressive, in my opinion. Now, I also looked at my online trading platform. The Panasonic is owned by at least one ESG-oriented fund. I consider that a good sign. And it's also owned by a couple of electric vehicle battery or a couple of electric battery-oriented funds, or what appear to me to be that, putting them more in the green category. I also took a look at the Panasonic chart going from 1990 to present, and my impression is that this stock has traded at highs of pushing $30 on 2 occasions since 1990. It's dipped as low as around the $4 range, as I remember, often come up to the $14, $15 range. Again, I'm just giving you my memory of those charts. Additionally, Panasonic pays a dividend. It's presently trading, this is December, around the $11, beginning to push $12. When it first came onto my radar back in November, I believe it was in the high $10 range, pushing $11. That's how I recall. So I purchased some shares at around that $10, $11 range, and I've been purchasing a few more. My plan is to hold on to them and maybe continue to accumulate up until about $14. At least that's my share now, possibly up to $16, my plan now. And then possibly to keep some long term and then sell some. That's what I'm thinking at present. In terms of being a green investment, not as green as I was hoping initially, but they are involved in the electric vehicle market. They are on a ESG exchange traded funds list of owned companies. And for me personally, at under $14, I think it's a decent buy. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, arigato. And until next time, sayonara. And please remember to subscribe, click that notification bell so you know when I'm putting up a new video. Comment, like, share. And until next time, again, as I usually say, peace be with you.